Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Late-night comedian Jay Leno said it best, not once, but twice. He said, quote, "The liberals are asking us to give Obama time. Yes, the liberals are asking us to give Obama time. We agree and think 25 to life would be appropriate." And then also, Jay said, "America needs Obamacare like Nancy Pelosi needs a Halloween mask." Enough said. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Oh, boy, it's going to be a great weekend. Sunny and nice and mild. Good morning. Oh, there she goes, that lovely lady, Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch, and of course our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and a great big tire sale going on. And of course, don't forget our friends like great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Oberlin in Burley. Well, a big howdy do, and thank you to Gina and Sharon for yesterday. I had to I didn't run personally, but I took the vehicle. It works a lot better.
Yes.
To Salt Lake City, and thank you.
You are very, very welcome, and howdy.
Howdy, Minnie Pearl with the old price tag on the hat.
Oh, you know, I love Miss Old Minnie Pearl. I'm going to have to pull something up. Maybe we'll do something with her today.
Okay, good. Hey, how you doing?
I am doing well. A busy Thursday as always, and ready to get the show rolling.
Okay, did everything go right on track yesterday?
It did. Everything went really, really well,
Good.
And I'm excited about the drawing later on this morning.
Yep, big drawing later on this morning. Thank you to Tires West, Les Schwab, and also to Drift In. We're going to be giving away a set of car tires this morning and a $50 gift certificate to Drift In to the grand prize drawing of course, cow pies and coffee cups.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks, Gina. I appreciate you. Do we have a pleasure?
Nope, me and you, babe.
Ah, well, guess who that me and you implies?
Oh, I did it last time, so it's your turn.
No, I tell you what, we'll do it together.
Oh, no, last time we did that, we totally foobarred it. So let's, either one or the other.
No, you do such a great job. I think you should have the honor. Go ahead.
All right, twist my arm. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You see, the reason I didn't want to do it this morning is because I wanted to give you another chance to poignantly point your finger at me and say, you goofed it up the time you did it.
Yeah, indivisible. Indivisible.
Yeah, I'm invisible, all right. Hey, is Michael there?
Well, that is not Michael calling, so I have him on pre-record.
Oh, okay. I tell you what we'll do. We'll go to the weather real quick. MichaelRogersWeather.com. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's Thursday, and nothing has changed since the last 4 days ago, and nothing is going to change as we work our way into next week. So what am I talking about? It's going to be another sunny day. Look for a high today of about 69. Overnight low right around 38, which is not bad either because it's not really freezing, but it's kind of cool. Winds are not going to be a problem. It's just going to be, how should I say this? As Johnny Nash did on his number one hit single back in the day. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's doing what you got.
Thank you. Hey, let's sell some cattle real quick at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Merv, come on in.
He gets the steer calves there here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5.
That's the voice of Merv May, world's greatest auctioneer. I just love to listen to his chant. I'll guarantee he's good. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call, the office, 678-9411. Merv May, Lance Udy, and the rest of the crew waiting to serve you today at 10:30. Here's just part of the run that's coming into that sale today. Rick Robinson, hello Rick up at Oakley, bringing in 175 head of ripping good calves. And Aaron Cook of Cary, 60 head of calves. Hello, the Cook family. John Brooks over to Cary, 50 head of calves. P-Bar S. Dairy out at Malta, 64 head of Holstein cows. Dave Smith over to Snowville, went through there last night, semi-load of mixed cows and calves. David Bell up at Albion. How's everybody up in the Jeremiah Johnson country? 20 head of yearlings coming down to the sale. Bedkey Ranch, Wine Cup Ranch. Oakley, 40 head of cows coming in. Jed Heaton of Nath, 100 head of calves. And South Ridge Dairy, 35 head of Holstein cows. Sale time's going to be at 10:30 today at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, he gets the steer calves there here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and I sell him $35. Zeb Mel gets bottom again.
Amen. Well, hey, it's good to have that good livestock report. That's going to be a ripping good sale today at Burley Livestock. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They threw the doors open at 7:30 this morning and said, hello, world. Yes, sirree. They do that Monday through Friday. And they've got all your cords, cord ends, fuses. It's still hats off to Farmers Time because they appreciate everybody in agriculture. You can stop in, get some popcorn and pop and maybe a brand new Ramsey cap and just enjoy those people. 57 years in business serving you at Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Yes, we went to Salt Lake yesterday. Actually, we left Tuesday afternoon. And I think it's only fair that I tell you, the audience, that I will be going into the University of Utah Hospital in January and for some major leg surgery. And we'll fill you in more as to the duration and whatever else is going to happen. And this is where I'm so dependent upon my right-hand girl Friday. Well, actually 2 right-hand girl Fridays. 3, actually, right-hand girl Fridays. Gina and Sharon and my lovely wife Deanne. And thanks to all of our friends out there for your very, very kind thoughts. I appreciate that. That'll be coming up in January when yours truly goes under the knife with a doctor in University Hospital in Utah. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Rain for Rent, 134 South, 600 West Highway 27 in Paul. Don't forget they've got all the Ranky rebates for this fall. And also all the sales and service of industrial and agricultural. They've got the best of people working over there. Frank Jensen and Skip Hilton and Brooks West, all of them. They know what's going on with irrigation. They know what's going on with water. You check with the best. Rain for Rent in Paul. Number to call, 438-5065. All right, give me a jingle on the line at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Obamacare is even getting worse. You can tell when something is starting to really turn into a cancerous amoeba cell like Obamacare, when some of the top Democrats, some of the very top Democrats, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz, are ready to stand on the edge of the boat and jump off. I'm not kidding you. They know this is not going to get any better. They know this thing has already left a bad first impression. And they're ready to get out of it, man. They want to call for a moratorium to rethink and retool this healthcare debacle. They realize this has been a joke, but nobody's laughing. I had on occasion yesterday some of the individuals at the hospital down at University Hospital in Utah to discuss just briefly, just quick answers to my questions about what they thought about Obamacare. some of which we can't put on the radio. I went in for some x-rays, and I was talking to the x-ray tech about Obamacare, and needless to say, I found out exactly what they thought about Obamacare. And it runs comparable to what a lot of people are thinking. How could this incompetent president, how could this amateur president, with his trademark Obamacare, let this thing slip through the sand and be buried in the manure? This is terrible. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, Mr. Bell.
Hi there, Al.
You're doing great. Glad to hear you're going to be okay, and we'll root for you come January.
Well, you know, people like you are hard to find as far as good friends are concerned, you and Polly, and just really appreciate it. But my biggest concern is, how's Polly doing?
Well, doing great, and guess what? I'm going to bring her to lunch bunch today.
Oh, boy, that's going to be a treat. I really am looking forward to seeing her. Thank you.
You betcha. I'm cracking down. She's coming or else.
Well, now you know, old buzzard you are. You got to behave yourself.
I always do.
Yeah, right, and I can walk without crutches, too.
Yeah, you bet. Anyway, I was watching this deal last night when they had that Landrew down in Arizona.
Mary Landrew from Louisiana.
Did you see some of them people jump on her?
It was almost pitiful.
Yeah, how dare you bring that crap back to us, huh?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was absolutely astounded as to how some of the big-name Democrats, even Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Al, there's trouble in River City, and it's not the tuba player that got the flu.
I know it, and it's about time it happened. That's why I think it's going to be kicked completely out of the books. I really do.
I'm not so sure right now, Al. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that there's a lot of things that have to happen before it goes completely asunder. I think they're going to try to retool this thing. I even got a note while I was gone yesterday. Hold on just a second. This came straight from Sebelius's office. And it came straight to me from HHS Office of Public Affairs to zeb@theranch@hotmail.com. And it goes through how they've hired various CEOs and chairman of two publicly traded companies. Jeff Zients is on board to work closely with cooperation with the HHS team and trying to provide advice and counsel to the project. But my question to you, Al, is this was such a joke, such a farce, and so completely misguided. Why didn't they take the time and the effort to make sure they had this thing ready to fly before they pushed it off the cliff?
Because it's like everything else they've done, Zeb, since he took over that office as president. They've tried to shove stuff down our throat that the American people have fought against since 1941. And it's coming to fruition now to where either they poop and get off the pot, or they just shut the hell up and get out of the country.
Well, I can't agree more, but, you know, there's a paragraph in here. I got to read one sentence of this paragraph to you that was written by supposedly Sebelius and passed out to the rest of the news media like myself. Quote, it says, millions of Americans are already benefiting from the law through increased benefits like preventative care at no additional cost and drug discounts for seniors.
That's a damn lie, because look at the thousands of people down there in Florida that has lost their deal. Right now, what's going to happen when it goes down the tubes, and how them people are going to get back on their plans?
Well, what plan?
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
They had their own insurance, now they're getting dropped.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is where the American public had better realize and hold up a picture of Barack Hussein Obama and realize that the man lied to all of America when he said, you can keep your doctor and you can keep your health plan. Al, you know, I know, anybody with any common sense that follows what's going on. This is absolutely a sham.
Right. And I'd tell our congressmen and our senators, you pass laws, you live with them, don't be passing them off on us, then you get the cushy lovey deals.
All right. Cushy lovey deals?
Yeah.
You are changing. Polly must be going to go to lunch with you. All right.
Getting social yield with a big stick.
All right. See you later, buddy. Thank you.
Betcha, bye.
Don't forget, if you've got sprinklers and you haven't had those sprinklers blown out for the fall, you better do so, because they're going to freeze, and then you're going to be standing there doing a war dance out in your lawn going, darn, 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 or words like that. But you better call Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service at 150 South 950 West of Paul, 431-8733. He can blow out those sprinkler lines and get them all set for next year. You better believe it. Also, if you're thinking about putting in a new sprinkler system or revamping the old one, get a hold of Scott Gano, 431-8733. This guy does know what he's doing. Hey, Valley White Home and Ranch, they know what they're doing over there, too. I love those people over there at Valley White Home and Ranch. I tell you what, they just absolutely... they've got some great buys, like they've got a select group of boots from Roper Boots, Georgia, and Rocky Boots. Buy one pair and get the second pair free. What? That's right. And they got pine shavings for all your horse trailers and stalls, and they got the wood pellets over there for your pellet stoves. They got the smart lick tubs and the cattle lick blocks. They got it all for you. All your dog and kitty cat food. And Deanna, I need to see you for a minute. Come on in. Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop in and see them today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The biggest joke. We have the TV winner? Okay, well, that's not on there. Elite Farms of Burley won the television set from Rain for Rent, so I wanted to highlight that. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I'm going to take you a little different route this morning.
Oh, my gosh, look out. We're lost.
Well, on the TV, the news, this little 2-year-old girl that was found in a gypsy camp in Europe. They're trying to say who she belongs to. Her parents. Why can't they use DNA to find out?
You know, I was thinking the same thing. Why is there such a mystery about this? Now, there must be some reason or some particular scientific fact that I'm not aware of, but I said the same thing. You and I are on the same trail. And Deanna and I were watching that, and I thought to myself, well, that shouldn't be that much of a problem. Don't they have matching and coordinating DNA with the parents versus the child? What's the matter with us that we maybe thought of it and everybody else didn't?
Well, that's what I was wondering. It's been bugging me all night.
Well, I hope you got a little sleep so you can at least not stick your nose in your plate at lunch bunch.
Well, I'm scared I might.
Well, I'll grab you by the back of the neck and drag you out.
Okay, I thank you.
All right, God bless you. Have a good day. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Lunch bunch today at Perkins at, it's going to be great, 11:30. Don't miss it. Please, everybody, be there. I need you there. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Even West Virginia, Joe Manchin, a Democrat. And you know, this guy's a pretty straight shooter. This guy is a pretty straight shooter. He said, whoa, wait a minute. We need to stop. We need to stop and get things right. We don't need to have the American public sitting there at their computers trying to get onto something they can't do it. They can sit for hours. They could die at those computers trying to get on Obamacare. And then the government with their heavy-handed threats saying, well, if you don't have it by a certain time, you will be fined. That is asinine and ridiculous, which is indicative of this administration. He said, we got to get this thing fixed. And they do. They've either got to fix it. They've got to say, okay, wait a minute. We're going to take a year and reestablish this. We're going to take a year and rewrite it. We're going to take a year to figure out all the glitches and where they are and why they happen. We're going to make sure that this is streamlined to the sensitivity of the American public. We're going to take care of it. And Obama would look like a good guy. But you know, this is my opinion. This is my opinion as to why Obama can't wait. He needs the money. They need the money for the budget. They need the money for their fiscal responsibilities to this program. They need your premiums. They need your involvements. They need every dollar they can conjure up as fast as possible. And I honestly believe that this man is so egotistical and his ideology is such that he will not bend He will not weaken. He's going to pursue this thing, and there's not going to hardly any be change. I think this thing is going to bring him down, and I hope it does. I hope it's an albatross around his neck. Your thoughts, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you about Save-On Shells. I know all about Save-On Shells. They are the best. New line of shells from ARE. Many different models for your pickups, from cab high to those you can raise up. And they also have a great selection of used shells, too. There's no reason why you shouldn't consider a shell, because when you look at the problems going on today with people just kind of walking by pickups and reaching in and helping themselves, maybe to your tools, maybe your fishing equipment, maybe your hunting equipment, maybe your saddles and tack, put a cab on there, put a shell on it. You better believe it. I did. I saved money at Save On Shells. I got the best at Save On Shells. And you will too at Save On Shells, 1827 Overland in Burley, 312-1525. You be sure and stop in and see them today. Really, it's the smartest way to be. It is. Great, great camper shells right there at Save On Shells. Oh, and I got to tell you, a little bit later on this morning, we're going to be talking to a representative over at Four Paws Bed and Bath about their great big Halloween party coming up on this Saturday. And it's going to be this Saturday, October 26th, for all your dogs and kitty cats, and you can get them all kinds of costumes, your dogs and kitty cats, and ghoulify your pets with hair coloring. Can you imagine what you could do to a St. Bernard or Doberman? Maybe you want to do it to the Doberman. I don't. Anyway, that's going to be this Saturday, and you can get free pictures with your pets and refreshments and everything else at Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West 200 South of Rupert, 438-4444. Did I hear the cow moo, Gina?
No, you didn't.
Oh, did I hear Jim McCall on the phone?
No, I'm dialing.
That was subtle. Okay.
I'm honest.
I love you. The phone is ringing. Let's see what he says when he picks up the phone.
I love live radio.
I do too. That's the third ring for dialing for dollars. Is that you, McCall? He's not there. You know what? He's still sleeping.
Good morning.
No, you're supposed to say, hello, Zeb.
Zeb, is that you?
I hope so. You're on the radio. We're doing this live, so don't say any bad words that's going to get your mama mad at me. I love it. Call him back and tell him not to hang up on me. Doggone him. Oh.
Okay, we're redialing.
Okay, we're redialing.
Yes. He's so hung up on you.
I can't believe it.
I am shocked.
I am too. This is...
Hello.
Are you going to hang up on me again?
Well, not on purpose. Aren't cell phones wonderful?
Not really. Ladies and gentlemen, after 37 attempts since 8 o'clock this morning, we finally have Jim McCall of Travel Loop Supply on the air.
It's 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Well, you weren't up at 8 o'clock. How would you know? And he's standing there in his skivvies holding on to a pink bubba rope. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Well, no skivvies, but I got a cup of coffee in my hand.
Okay, well, what's cooking over at Travel Loop Supply?
Hey, we're running a special on tools.
Okay.
We need to close out a bunch of tools that we've had here for a while, for too long. We've got some Olympia brand tools. They're good tools. End wrenches, pliers, and just assorted things. Come on by, see what we got.
All right.
Give Heather a call. She can tell you if we have what you need.
All right, now I got to ask, did the pink bubba ropes get in there?
They did not. They're still on back order. We talked to them yesterday, and we'll see when they get here.
Now what you ought to do is call up the Bubba Rope headquarters and say, now look, we promised these people pink Bubba Ropes for the month of October, and we want a big discount on Bubba Ropes.
Boy, yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay. Hey, you got all the oil and everything else for the kind of the transition to colder temperatures too, don't you, over at Travel Loop Supply?
Yes, we do. We've got power service in stock. We have everything you need to keep those engines running as it turns cold. Get some antifreeze in the windshield washer stuff, so that doesn't freeze up on you some frosty morning.
All right, hey, do me a favor next week, would you please? Though it makes me feel really inferior when you hang up on me all the time.
What is it, Zeb?
What is it? What?
We'll try to do better. Seems like my phone is cutting out a little bit today.
All right. Hey, listen, Jim McCall, Travel Loop Supply. Have a great day, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. 438-8730, Travel Loop Supply. Oh, my, I love cell phones. I was about ready to chuck mine out the window yesterday down in Salt Lake City. Ay. Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. The number to call, 678-2321. Brings you now the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
Critics of genetically engineering crops are rethinking their strategy in the battle over biotechnology. The shift may include an increased focus on state and local government regulations, according to a chief critic of federal biotech policy. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the USDA can't regulate biotech crops once the agency determines they're not plant pests. The Center for Food Safety says the ruling undermines claims the federal rule preempts state and local restrictions on biotech crops. But ag law experts say the USDA's narrow authority preempts local regulation, and that strategy will likely come into conflict with the Constitution's Commerce Clause. With the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Hannah Browse.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and CapitalPress.com.
You better believe it, brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321, the number to call, and they sponsor the Ag Minute, Pacific Steel and Recycling. Hey, don't forget to call them at 678-2321 and schedule a free tour for your school, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, 4-H, whatever, and Adam Brower and the rest of the folks are there to serve you at Pacific Steel and Recycling in Burley. Really nice people. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, by the way, how many of you last night watched the first game of the 2013 World Series? Raise your hands. If you're driving, just leave one on the wheel. Hold on, caller. I'll be right with you. Last night during that game, I couldn't believe that was one of the worst calls from an umpire that I have ever seen in my life. And I've been around baseball all my life, ever since I was a little boy. And that was one of the worst calls I've ever seen made by an umpire. And at first he was adamant that he was right, and it was just absolutely so vividly clear that he botched the call. Finally, they had to call all the other umpires together, which was a good thing. And they all unanimously said, "Boy, you botched that call!" And they changed it, thank goodness. Worst call I've ever seen by an umpire last night on the double play ball at second base. It was absolutely pathetic. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, several years ago, I won't mention how many, but my parents had a small farm, and we used to raise hay and beans or whatever, but hay was in your rotation. And I can remember never, ever getting over $20 a ton for that hay. And it was just a darn nuisance because you had to pay for your water and your taxes and everything. You couldn't hardly break even.
Mm-hmm.
But now, just day before yesterday, I left my son over to Valley Wide in Rupert to get 2 bales of hay. $16 a piece.
Yeah, it's going like green gold. It is green gold, and that's not an exorbitant price. I paid that and more for hay. When you figure on a tonnage price, it's gone skyrocketing. But I have heard some news in the last couple of days that hay prices will be, or maybe already have, started to back off a little bit. But it has gone through the rough. I wished I had about 1,000 acres of hay. I would be coming down and buying every car on your lot so I could use a different one all the days of the month.
You know, that Stanley Hay Company you drive by on the way to Twins, he has built such an empire out of that. I'm sure it's through hard work and everything that he got what he got, but he's got the right idea. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, I guarantee you one thing. I'm glad you brought that up about Stanley Hay Company, because I would love to get them on our program. They ship hay all over the world, for a matter of fact, and I'm going to put a note down here, and I'm going to try to get them on our program next week. That is an excellent idea, and talk to them about their entrepreneurship. And thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. I got to run and do a commercial, but thank you for your call.
You bet.
Excellent idea. Thank you very much. Caller, I'll be right there with you. Don't go away. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop in Twin Falls. I absolutely swear by these people because they really helped me. I had a severe fire in my pickup this summer, and boy, we almost lost the truck, trailer, and the horses all at the same time. They did a wonderful job of restoration on my pickup. I think they're good guys. They strive to make your vehicle repairs undetectable. Boy, I guess if you got a fender bender, an accident, whatever, you be sure and call 736-2490, 736-2490. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop, 1243 Blue Lakes Boulevard in Twin Falls. They really know what they're doing. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, we live in some of the most pristine, beautiful country on the planet. You know, I just got back from a trip over in eastern Idaho. Took a day and went over to the Tetons, checked out the water situation. Folks, we need to be praying and fasting for water because Jackson Lake is almost totally dry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's down to, 15%, something like that?
Yeah.
That's where we get our water, so I can testify. It was a beautiful day, no wind, and I got some beautiful pictures and did some hiking. It was absolutely gorgeous talking to people from Europe and different places and different states. But, you know, one thing, this is the greatest country that ever existed on the planet, and we've got to fight to restore those constitutional liberties that we take so much for granted.
Amen.
And, you know, talking to people from Indiana, Michigan, Alaska, and it's, you know, we all have the same concerns because we got into some really good conversations. People everywhere just want to raise their families, have the freedom to be able to keep some of what they produce without being taxed and regulated to death. You know, it's just, we have such a blessing to live in this country. We just don't realize how the rest of the world lives unless you actually go there.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing that's...
a third world country, but we're rapidly getting there.
I'll tell you one thing that really scares me is that people, I think, this is my own personal opinion, but because they're having to work 2 and 3 jobs, and because they're very worried about what their 401ks, or if they have any savings at all for retirement, they're scared. And right now, the American dream has turned into an American nightmare, and people want to restore that American dream to where if you work hard, you can prosper, you can enjoy the blessings that God gave us for this great earth. And I think people are scared right now, Adrian.
Well, you know, that's absolutely true. You know, I talk with people from Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and France. You know, and they all speak great English. They really do. And it's the universal language, and yet here we kowtow to, you know, minorities and so forth. And instead of having just one language to unify our country, we're allowing all of this multicultural diversity to basically divide and destroy us.
I agree. And, you know, I want to give me a short answer on this because I got to do a commercial.
Sure.
But, you know, you talk about English and how all over the world it's the universal language accepted. Well, look at all the airline pilots. That is the language. It's English, okay?
Right.
And here with Obamacare, they had to come up with the money to provide over 150 languages on how to get on Obamacare. Look at the cost. Look at the absolute disgusting reason that they used. I'm personally one of these guys that is turning into an isolationist. If you can't come to this country, and you can't accept the values of this country, and you can't abide by an English-speaking nation, then stay the heck out of this country.
Well, absolutely. My grandfather came over here in 1903 after the Fabian Socialists had destroyed the European economies, and he didn't speak any English when he got here, or very little. I don't think he spoke any English, in fact. But, you know, he learned English, became a citizen. He had a sponsor, had to have good health, that's the system that worked. That's what we need to restore.
I agree.
But no, we kowtown to, like you say, all of this diverse languages and so forth. English only, folks. And we got to stop this. Now they're pushing on the amnesty thing again, along with all the other problems back there, just to deflect away from the Obamacare fee.
Yeah, I said a week ago, and it's recorded, a week ago Monday on this program, I said that Obama would right now start using any and all means to cover up the disaster of Obamacare by using immigration reform or going into more concepts of gun control. I stand behind what you said, because this man will utilize any problem to create a smokescreen, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Oh, absolutely. This guy just runs and ducks and hides. He won't take responsibility for nothing. He's not a leader. He's not a leader. I mean, and the people I talked to in the States brought that subject up and said this is the worst president we've ever had.
I agree.
And we'll go down in history as the worst president. I hope we can survive him.
I do too. Adrian, thank you for your call. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You should have a great weekend. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Don't forget that we're going to have the drawing for our grand prize today at roughly about 10:52 this morning. And we're going to be giving away a set of car tires from Tires West, Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, Tires West. And that is great. And along with it, we're going to give away a $50 gift certificate to the Drift Inn in Rupert. Wow. Car tires and a nice gift certificate to go eat. Grand prize today for my cow pies and coffee cups. And be ready to listen and possibly win this morning at about 10:52. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I couldn't believe this when I heard this story. Atheists are again attacking the United States Air Force Academy, and they are demanding that some of the verbiage at the end of the Air Force pledge be taken off. Atheists are demanding that "So help me God" is taken off the Air Force Academy pledge to service. They want it stricken. And I honestly believe that the weak-kneed, political correct members of the Air Force Academy, and for that matter in general with the military and the Obama administration, are going to kowtow to the atheists and take "So help me God" off of that pledge. Now, I want to make this emphatically clear. I don't and I won't abide by political correctness. If the Washington Redskins change their name, I will refer to that team as the Washington Redskins. If the Pledge of Allegiance is changed so that they strike the words "under God," I will continue to say the pledge with the words "under God." And I think the Air Force showing nothing more than pimply-faced little cowardice in even considering taking off the words "So help me God." What are your thoughts about political correctness? What are your thoughts about bowing to these atheists and kowtowing to the politically correct? I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. I'm not going to move one way or the other. I'm going to stay right in the middle of the road where I am. And I'm going to demand that I stay that way. I don't care if it's the Kansas City Chiefs or if it's the Washington Redskins, Atlanta Braves. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's "So help me God" or "under God." I'm not going to change on this program. I was listening to a couple of people debate changes in verbiage on television not too many nights ago. And, well, some words today are not acceptable. Wait a minute. Why aren't certain words today acceptable? Nothing wrong with the words, no filthy connotations or anything else, but all of a sudden, I'm coming, caller, stand by. All of a sudden, due to the fact of the PC, police, they deem that some words are not acceptable today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I watched that fiasco last night, and that bald-headed dumb nut. I mean, what in the hell does he think he's talking about?
Are you talking about that Mickey? Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah. It was disgusting. It was revolting to me that we even give credence to these people. I say if the majority wants it, the majority rules, and the others can go sit in the corner and suck their thumb.
Well, I was proud to stand there with 87 other guys at down in Salt Lake Airport, and we said the pledge, and we would join the service. And by hell, I'll still stand by it. And if that guy don't like it, cram it, buddy, because we don't need people like you telling our servicemen or anybody else how in the hell we're supposed to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well,
in God we trust.
Well, I'll tell you something, Al. What's happening here is it's going to take a concentrated effort from all of us to ignore this lunacy. And if they say, well, you can't say the Washington Redskins anymore, I'm going to continue to say it. If they can't say the pledge with the words under God, I'm going to continue to say it. And if they say, well, you can't say, so help me God, I'm going to continue to say it. It takes an effort of us honoring the amendment of free speech. And I'm not going to have somebody tell me what I can and cannot say as long as it's in the line and realm of decency.
Well, it always seems that just one or two people can cause all kinds of hell and havoc when all you have to do is look them in the eye, say, mister, your free speech stops at the end of my fist. Now shut your damn mouth and leave us alone.
Well, the whole thing boils down to one person. One person can be upset. Oh, that offends me. And one person becomes the squeaky wheel that gets things changed. And I'm one person on the other side that's not going to listen to him. I'm going to continue to refer to the Washington Redskins football team as the Redskins. I'm going to continue to refer to the Atlanta Braves and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chicago Blackhawks and everything else. I'm not going to change for somebody's petty grievance.
Nope. Hang in there, people.
All right.
We're still the majority, and I think we can still come back and whip this bunch of nutheads.
I think so too, Al. Thank you very much. God bless. Have a good day. Thank you. What do you folks think about that? Are you going to kowtow and just, wait a minute, we can't let you say that anymore? Put some duct tape over your mouth. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning again. Hey, whether we say it or not, we are still under God regardless. I don't like it taken out. It needs to remain there. We live in a community that isn't a silent majority that way, but the rest of the country seems to be, and if they don't change, we're got some problems.
Jim, I'm going to say this, and it's not meant to offend you or anyone else as a Christian, but I think you'll agree with me if you really think about it. It's the truth. The reason that we have atheist groups going after So Help Me God or under God or the political correctness in general is because we've turned into cowards.
Well, I don't know if it's that or we just been so lackadaisical on what our words really mean. People just don't understand the long-term consequences of what they say and what they do.
Yeah, but what I'm saying about cowards is we could fight back and say, wait a minute, one person complained about So Help Me God? One person? And Christians in general. They should all stand up and say, leave that alone. But you know what? We just go along. We don't do anything. And then when we're pushed into a corner, we go, oh, okay, we'll turn the other cheek. Jim, I'm telling you, Christians have got to stop turning the other cheek.
Oh, absolutely. And I still think, this community, we're not doing that, but as much to degree as they are other parts of the country.
Well, I'm glad.
We're fortunate where we live, but we've got to pass on that way of thinking or the enthusiasm, the anger towards it. The rest of the country's got to step up.
There you go. Well, it's like I said, I'm going to be probably very offensive to some, but if Daniel Snyder with the Redskins is forced and coerced to change the name of a football team that has been in existence for almost 85 years, I'm not going to change. I'm going to continue to refer to them as the Redskins. I'm going to continue to refer to the Atlanta Braves as the Braves. I'm going to continue saying, like I said, under God or so help me God. I'm not going to change that, Jim, because you got to stand up. Sooner or later, you got to stand up for something.
Absolutely. And why is it different if we're offended instead of somebody that doesn't believe? It just always kind of bugs me that my feelings don't count.
Yeah, you got it. Listen, it's always fun to talk to somebody without one side hanging up. That was a nice conversation.
Well, I guess Verizon has had some problems with the phones the last day or so.
Amen, man. I can tell you.
It's working earlier, I can tell you that.
All right, buddy.
I catch about every other word you said earlier.
All right, well, God bless you, Jim. And it was really good to hear from you. Call more often. I appreciate it.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Jim. Caller, I'll be right there. Real quickly, we got to have a weather update with MichaelRogersWeather.com. Here's Michael.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's Thursday, and nothing has changed since the last 4 days ago, and nothing is going to change as we work our way into next week. So what am I talking about? It's going to be another sunny day. Look for a high today of about 69. Overnight low right around 38, which it's not bad either because it's not really freezing, but it's kind of cool. Winds are not going to be a problem. It's just going to be, how should I say this? As Johnny Nash did on his #1 hit single back in the day, it's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. See you later, you guys.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. MichaelRogersWeather.com. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller. Uh-oh, look out, they're backing up. They're backing up! Oh, we'll call again, 436-2244-1866-927-4587. You know, they're back. My cow is in good shape. Had a lot of alfalfa. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear about in New York they're shutting down the schools to celebrate the Muslim holidays?
Yeah, that's another subject I didn't have a chance to get into this morning so far, but I just can't understand the appeasement and the absolute bending over backwards to appease Islam and the Muslim faith in this country at the risk of absolutely turning Christians out into the pasture. They don't care.
I thought it was unreal.
Yeah,
here we can't say God in their Pledge of Allegiance. And they're turning out schools to celebrate the Muslims.
Yeah. You know, Fred, I know you and I've known you for many years. And you're the kind of an individual I believe is going to stand up with me that there's got to be some group of people across this country, gathering groups of people that are going to stand up and say to this political correctness, no, we're going to continue to say it this way whether you like it or not. And that's the bottom line.
That's what I've done all my life, and I definitely not going to change now.
Well, yeah, you
kind of going to be in my pledge every time I say it.
There you go. God bless you, Fred. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir.
Talk to you later.
You bet. I've got a lot of respect for that man, and I still wouldn't want to cross him. He's a man of conviction and a man of his word, and I have a lot of respect for Fred Preston. Calls are welcome, 436-2244-1866-927-4587. But yet, this morning, right now, in this area, you can bet that there are people that are just sitting in their chair right now, just gripping the sides of their chair with the white knuckles, and they're mashing and gnashing their teeth and pulling their hair out going, oh, that Zeb Bell, how dare he! Because they believe in political correctness. They believe that if one person is offended, everybody should kowtow to that one person. They believe that if somebody's offended by the term Redskins, we've got to stop 85 years of honoring a great football organization and change the name. They believe that we should take So Help Me God and Under God away from anything affiliated with military academies and or going into the court system. Oh, one or two people might be offended. We've got to change. No, I'm not going to change.
You know what they can do?
I'm scared to ask you.
We can buy a big old case of earplugs, and they can shove those earplugs in so they don't have to listen because I'm going to say it.
I'm not going to quit. I can. Now, here's something I want you to really consider before you give me an answer on this.
Okay.
You know that we have a lot of dissenting voices that will not have the courage to display their voice on the air, but they'll call in or write in afterwards.
Correct.
You know that, regardless of the show.
Yes.
And these are the kind of mousy little rat hole type people that will do their best to go to the ownership, go to the corporate headquarters, and demand that our heads are put on a silver tray like John the Baptist.
You know, but if it said corporate ownership and said whoever it is, the man in charge, said, you know what, person, I respect your opinion, but we're not going to stop doing what we're doing, and so you can take your money elsewhere. And if you stand up for that, guarantee you more people are going to stand behind you.
Amen. You know, when you show weakness and you let one link of the chain become weak and break, then you've lost the battle.
Amen.
All right. Thanks, Gina. Hey, great big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations right now, serving you. Big tire sale. Prices have been lowered and the greatest in value on excellent tires for all your driving needs. Like the Wildcat AT2 for your light truck and SUVs, and the passenger car tire, the Ultra Z900, on sale for you, along with great brake service. Wow, the best in brake service, the best in front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. But you know what? The best in people. They really take care of you at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Pole Line, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I got exactly 1 minute, real fast.
God bless you. Have a wonderful day. May your family be blessed, and Merry Christmas. And if they don't like it, they can shut that. I'll talk to you later.
I appreciate that, yes. And as we go into the Christmas season, you are always going to hear on this program, Merry Christmas. And we've had complaints, I'll tell you straight up, emails, calls that come in. We don't like that when you say God bless you. We don't like that. We don't want to hear that anymore. Well, you know what? That's too bad. God bless you. Have a good day. I'll be back in 6. Welcome back, hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And before we do anything else here real quick and go to the Chamber Report, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward and the entire staff. Joel, the owner-manager, and they really care. They accept the solemn responsibility of serving you and your family during a very, very difficult time when there's the passing of a loved one. They're always there with the highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, serving you and your family. Please contact them today at 436-5636 for information regarding the pre-planning of funerals, information we all should have to help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, serving you. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we go on the telephone line to the beautiful Minnecasia office of the Chamber of Commerce, and here's Kay Cameron.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm great. It's a beautiful day today.
It is you know what, yesterday, you got to really go a long way to beat the weather forecast for the last couple of days and the next few days. It's going to be great.
Yes, it's just beautiful fall weather here in southern Idaho. Enjoy it. It's just absolutely fabulous.
Well, what are you doing besides looking out the window wishing you were outside at the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, I have done that a few times this morning, and I will probably do that a few times today. But it's just an exciting time of year. We're gearing up for event season, is what I call it here at the Chamber. We've got a couple of big events coming up in the next several months. We've got a lot of exciting things, our annual board retreat, so a lot of things to keep me busy, and that's great.
Well, you know, a lot of people probably don't realize a day in the life of Kay Cameron as Chamber Director, but I bet you've pretty much got an itinerary 5 days a week straight through, don't you?
Yeah, we're very busy and always a lot of things. And one thing I wanted to talk about today is earlier this week, I had the opportunity to participate in a panel at the Kaja Technical High School and present to all of their students. And they had 2 sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And in the morning, it was kind of geared towards health professions. In the afternoon, it was kind of geared more towards manufacturing. But myself and other business professionals throughout the community had the opportunity to share with the students at the Tech Center about opportunities that are available right here in the Mini-Kaja community and professions and like I said, just opportunities that we have right here in the area. So it was a great opportunity to share with our students about things that we have going on right here in Mini-Kaja.
Do they understand and appreciate how great this area is? I mean, kids are kids, but do they appreciate now that they're teenagers and getting closer to stepping out and putting their toe in the water of the world? Do they really understand how great this place is?
Oh, I don't know. Like you said, kids are kids, and I mean, when you were a kid, did you really appreciate, all of those things? But the more often that we can share the message and relay information to them, and hopefully some of them went home and talked to their parents and said, hey, did you know that this is available? Or if I go into this profession, I have an opportunity to bring in this type of money. And at least maybe shared some of that information. And I think the more often that we have an opportunity to share that message with them, then the better off we are.
Well, you've had some good news in the last couple of weeks with people moving into the area with businesses and new opportunities.
Yes, it's very exciting. Earlier this summer, McCain's announced a big expansion at their facility with 120 jobs. Rupert has just announced the new Fruact facility over there that will be breaking ground soon with 100 jobs. It's just very exciting. We have a lot of great opportunities, and our unemployment rate here in the Mini-Kaja area is relatively low, especially compared to the rest of the state. And things I think are just really, we're very blessed. We're very fortunate here in our community.
Do you realize that we are just a mere short time away from saying to each other, Merry Christmas?
I know, it's coming right up, but we've got a lot of other things before then. Halloween next week. Remember to be safe. But drum roll, please, because I want to just plug our Farmer Business Appreciation Banquet coming up in November. And I'm very excited. We can finally talk about who our recipients are this year.
Okay.
And so we're very excited that we will be honoring Steve Westfall from Westfall and Westfall CPAs in Burley as our 2013 Businessman of the Year.
Okay.
And our 2013 Farmers of the Year are Paul and Kathy Duncan.
Well, good for all of them. And we did have a drum roll in the background. Gina's always so quick to do that. I appreciate that. And so congratulations, and that's all going to take place in November. Now, what about tickets to get in?
November 14th, the tickets are available here at the Chamber office. They can just come by or give us a call, and we can make arrangements for that. And so just stop by. We've got tickets for that.
All right. Now, how can people reach the Chamber office? I'm sure you've got 37 ways that you'll share with us.
Oh, not quite that many, but come by and see us. We love to have the opportunity to welcome people into our facility and visit with them. We're located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn on the beautiful Snake River. You can give us a call, 208-679-4793. You can find us on the internet at minikajachamber.com. You can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter.
There you go. The lovely Kay Cameron at the Mini-Kaja Chamber of Commerce. Have a good day and watch the duckies.
That's right.
All right, see you later. All right, bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Kay Cameron with the Mini-Kaja Chamber of Commerce, and we appreciate all their efforts. Really, really nice people. I've got to take some time right now, and I want to hit some of the public service announcements that we have on our list here for this morning, and then we're going to be talking to Peg Mariza, I hope I said her name right, over at Four Paws in just a moment. The second annual dinner and raffle for the Veterans Helping Veterans. I know Mike Campbell called me on this. It's a fundraiser spaghetti dinner and raffle to raise money to help local area veterans. It's sponsored by the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Veterans Helping Veterans, chapters 13 and 5. I hope I said that right. And that's Twin Falls, Burley, Rupert, and Idaho Falls. It's going to be 2 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, November 2nd. And it's going to be at the Senior Citizens Center at 530 Shoshone Street West in Twin Falls. Any other questions, please call 358-2752 or 670-1728. Veterans helping veterans. Think a lot of those guys, I really do. And also, if you'll remember when I had the Times News on my program, Autumn Agar said that she would love to have somebody from this area apply for the open seat on the Twin Falls Times News editorial board. And it's an 18-month term, and they meet once a week on Wednesdays at 1:15 in the afternoon. And, boy, there's a great opportunity. Instead of griping all the time, try to get on the editorial board. Try to be a part of the community. Try to share your thoughts as far as being on the Times News editorial board. And you can call her at 735-3255. That number again, 735-3255. Autumn Agar, the editor of the Times News. Got to pay some bills here real quick. Don't forget our good buddy Burley Glass and Gentle Ben, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley. 678-1459. Working hard to provide great service to all the communities in Magic Valley with the Atrium windows. Oh, they can increase the energy efficiency of your home by 2 to 3 times. Always there serving you, Burley Glass. And believe me, don't let that heat go outside and warm a bird's nest. It should stay inside the house and warm you. That's right. Call Gentle Ben at Burley Glass, 678-1459. They're ready to serve you. And real quick, too, a reminder about my friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Answer your questions. Now, don't put this off on the back burner. I'm telling you that you need to be prepared. You need to be secure in your security for your family, your home, and your business. So when you think about those items, call them right away. Don't just think about it. Call them at 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really, really nice people. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and I believe we're going to be visiting with Four Paws Bed and Bath over in Rupert. And do we have the lovely Peg Marissa on the phone?
Yes, you do.
Now, did I say your last name right?
Yes, you did.
Well, that took a lot of worry off my mind. Peg, first question I got for you this morning is, how did you get roped into doing this instead of Kathy?
I volunteered.
I'll bet you did. Okay, that's a good way to put it. Now, you've got a great big Halloween party coming up this weekend at Four Paws Bed and Bath, and this is not your normal Halloween party. It's for dogs and kitty cats, right?
Exactly.
Well, tell me about it. Hurry, go ahead.
Okay, well, we're having the party from 11 to 3, and we have refreshments for the owners and the pets. Also, we have free pictures taken with your pet. We decorated an area, and it's a Halloween decorations, and you can have a free picture with your pet. We have discounts on merchandise, and we have free nail trims that day.
No kidding. For the owners or the dogs and the kitty cats?
Well, I think it's for the animals.
Okay. Now, tell me, this has got to be a little weird. I mean, Halloween party for Dobermans and St. Bernards and Dachshunds and everything. What's the weirdest costume you've ever seen on a dog or a cat?
The weirdest costume?
Yeah.
They're all kind of weird.
Uh-huh.
But when they decorate up the big dogs, it's funny because I think the owners like it more than the dogs, but it's really fun, and the kids love it. That's what's fun, is the kids come out with their puppies and their cats, and it's a really good time.
I'll bet it is. Now, how many years have they been having this Halloween party over at Four Paws?
Well, I've only been there 2 years, and I think Kathy did that before I got there, but each year it just gets bigger and better, and she does so much for everybody. I mean, it's amazing how much. And what's fun is the owners actually come out and everybody visits, and it's just really a good time.
You know, I find it kind of an insecure feeling to laugh at a costume on a Doberman, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You've got
the government doesn't really like it, but it's amazing how cute that people, their ideas they come up with.
Oh, really?
And they actually build a costume around the dog, and it's fun.
Now, is this free to the public so everybody can come over and enjoy just looking and laughing?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
There's no cost. You just come in and you can get a picture, and we have hot chocolate and coffee and cookies for the people, and we have extra special treats made for the pets, even like pretzels and cupcakes, and they're made for pets.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Now, speaking of food and goodies and everything, Fort Paws has kind of changed the structure so that every day of the week is a little bit different. Like, you've got Munchie Monday and Toy Tuesday and Whisker Wednesday and this and that Thursday and Fashion Friday and Shampoo Saturday and Sportsman Sunday. Explain exactly what you do on all those different days.
Well, each day you get a certain amount off on... Like on Monday, all the treats are 15 to 25% off, and on Tuesday, the toys are 25% off. And on Wednesday, it's Cat Day, so it's 15 to 25% off. And Thursday, the collar, leashes, bowls, beds, and all miscellaneous items are 15 to 25% off.
Yeah.
And so what happens is there's a discount every day on certain items.
I see. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you find that today, in this day and age, are there a lot of cat lovers and cat owners?
Yes.
There are?
Yeah, and at one point, we board cats, and at one point, we had 12 cats in there at one time, all of them boarding together. It was awesome.
Boy, if you get one cat that's mad and teed off at other cats, you could have a real wreck, couldn't you?
They're separated, but, we make it work, and cat owners are there's a lot of cat owners that really care about their cats. It's pretty wonderful when they come out there and they pamper their cats too. And we actually groom cats out there.
Now, wait a minute. When you groom a cat, now this really intrigues me. When you groom a cat, do you have to put on like a NASA space suit to make sure that your body's protected, or what do you do?
Well, most cats enjoy it. Once they get in there, the groomer's very calm with them, and they give them a bath and...
Whoa, wait a minute. Stop right there, Peg. You give a cat a bath. Now, what kind of a great big machine do you have to hold those doggone kitty cats under the water?
We spray them gently with a really nice shower, and actually they really enjoy it.
Spray them gently.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the flesh is being curled off the end of your fingers, right?
No.
Okay.
Not bad. They enjoy it. Once the groomer is wonderful with them, and the cats actually enjoy it. They make a lot of noise, but we really haven't had a cat really go ballistic on us yet.
Really? Well, there's a first time for everything.
Exactly.
Listen, what about hot oil treatments for dogs and kitty cats? What is that?
Just like it would be for a person's, hair. It helps their coats. It helps their skin. Matter of fact, I even do it for my dog, if you can imagine.
Uh-huh.
And they come out, and their coat is just so much nicer, and it lasts for a long time, too. It's actually a real hot oil treatment.
Really? And then you even do teeth brushing. What do you do? Just get a great big old tube of Colgate and go to work? What do you do?
There's a special toothpaste for animals that we use, and, you just brush their teeth.
Now, that would also seem like it would be a very dangerous job if somebody came in with a great big German Shepherd. I don't think I'd be showing up to work that day to brush teeth.
Actually, it's not a bad thing. The toothpaste tastes good, so they don't have a hard time with it. And it really helps their breath, and because dogs' teeth are just as important, to keep their teeth clean and nice and their breath smelling good.
Okay. And then you also can do kind of like hair coloring, especially like for Halloween and all that kind of stuff. So the dog's real proud of you, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, it sounds to me like you've got a fun thing coming up this Saturday, and you do almost every day at Four Paws Bed and Bath. And so you tell Kathy and everybody to have a good time this weekend with all the dogs and kitty cats, and tell us how it goes, okay?
We sure will, Zeb. Thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you. I'm telling you, that's quite a business. Four Paws Bed and Bath in Rupert, 438-4444. They're going to have their big Halloween party this Saturday. Wow. Washing a cat. Now, I don't think I'd like to have that job of washing the old kitty cat. Nope. Mother Bell didn't raise any dummies. Let's ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, my goodness, they're open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 9 to 6, and that's where the fun is sold. Yes, sir, Bob, and they're cleaning out all the old generators and the lawnmowers and the power equipment at prices that you can't afford to pass up. And they've got all the new snowmobiles there for 2014. And they got all the ATVs there. They've got everything in a parts and service department second to none. Best guys in the whole valley are right over there. And let's ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, where the fun is sold. You stop in and you see them today. Holy cow! Who let the doggone dogs out? Oh, my goodness sakes, we got dogs running all over the place. Dobermans and Pekingese and Cocker Spaniels and little foo-foo type dogs. I'm telling you, they're all over. Good morning, Mr. Mort with Animal Control for Minidoka County.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Well, just great. I understand you were making your doggy deliveries last week.
I was, and it turned out great. Matter of fact, the Corgi lab, Annette Cross, that we had there, actually went up there because he had a home up there, so we got him transported up there, plus several others, and I mean they're all going to be getting really good homes, and we're looking forward to them pulling some more stuff on that, because they seem to find all of the dogs and stuff they get from us on that excellent homes.
So basically, tell me, Ken, somebody just calls and says, hey, we've got people that are looking for this, this, and this, and this kind of a dog, and so you load them all up in your Dog Nation truck. You ought to paint that thing, say Dog Nation on it. Let's do that. And you deliver them up there, right?
Yes.
I'll be darned.
If we can't get other transports and stuff in that are going that direction, then we'll do it ourselves. And I mean, it's so we can find these lovely animals and stuff in that good homes.
Okay. Now, what is the doggy in the window for this week?
The dog in the window this week is Brutus.
Brutus?
Yes, he is a bully type dog, bully breed dog. He's kind of short. He almost looks like a Staffordshire Terrier. He's got a little bit more of a boxier nose, a square nose, but he's a sweetheart of a dog. Gets along with everybody and everything. I mean, he's one of those that has that Oompa Loomp kind of attitude.
Wait, whoa, stop, Ken. I've known you for a long time. I used to be your baseball coach. Oompa Loop?
Yeah, kind of just like to just flop around. Yep.
Oh, that's an Oompa Loop dog?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You and Gina have been spending way too much time at the studio together.
You have no idea.
Oompa Loop.
But he's a real sweetheart. Walks great on a leash. He's just a real enjoyable friend, or real enjoyable friend for somebody. I mean, at times he thinks he's a lap dog. He tries to climb up into your lap when you're down petting him.
Most bully breeds do think that they're a lap dog. Is he cat friendly?
He seems to be cat friendly.
Oh, then that's a strike against him. Now, when you say a bully breed dog, for those of us that are not into dog breeds and understand all of it, what does this dog look like?
He actually almost looks like an English bulldog type dog, but a little bit bigger. I mean, he's got that stock like your English bulldogs and your French bulldogs. He's got short legs, and that they kind of think that he might have a little bit of corgi in him because of how short his legs are.
Oh, he's got a 1-inch vertical, huh?
I think he's got about a 2-inch.
I see. Okay.
But they're just they look very. A lot of people and actually with a lot of the bully breeds, they'll look at them and think that they're pit bulls, which. You can tell the difference between a pit bull and your regular bully breed type dog. But I mean, they've got a real big head on them.
Yeah.
Almost not quite as big as what your Rottweiler head is.
Yeah, it sounds like one of the guys I went to school with. Go ahead.
But yeah, it's I mean they're just a lot of them are a real friendly dog. They're a lot of people get them and have them at home, and it just to deter people.
Deter people.
Yeah.
In other words, scare them into submission.
Exactly.
I see. And what does this dog weigh?
I believe he weighs probably about between 40 to 45 pounds.
And so if he comes bounding across the carpet, aimed for your lap, one would consider covering up.
Yes.
Yes.
I see. Okay. And what do you call this dog?
Brutus.
Brutus. You know, he sounds like a kind of a big old fun type dog.
He is. He's a very fun dog. I mean, and the reason why we call him Brutus, I mean, he's got that.
Bull in a china shop kind of thing. Yeah.
How big a tail has he got?
Actually, it's good. I mean, it's never been docked. So
I mean, if he goes to wagging that thing, you better plan on going to the furniture store for new lamps, right?
No, more likely protect your legs. You're going to be whipped.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, Brutus sounds like he's a big old guy that just wants a big old family to love him so he can just kind of lay on the floor and absorb the love.
Yes, he does.
Okay. That's kind of like me. Anyway,
I was going to say that, Zeb, but I figured I'd be nice.
Well, why should you change your habits? Anyway, what else is going on over at Minidoka Dog Control real quick?
Actually, we're still looking for volunteers to help us with getting some of the remodel stuff done that we're trying to do at the new site that we're trying to get moved to. Also, dog food, cat food, bedding, towels.
I've got a blanket for you at my house for the shelter, by the way.
Okay, sweet.
Okay.
I mean, anything, collars, leashes, if you've got some old stuff laying around, treats.
Okay.
I had a lady yesterday show up with a big box of dog biscuits and some jerky stuff and some dog food, and it was just wonderful being able to give these guys treats every once in a while.
Oh, well. Now, if they have questions, how do they get a hold of you to check out this wonderful dog that you call, what's his name?
Brutus.
Brutus! Okay.
And if you want to kind of picture him and stuff and that, imagine the dog off of the old Donald Duck and all them where you had to, or actually it's Tom and Jerry.
Oh.
I know which one you're talking about.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
That would always chase Tom around.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like that, except for smaller.
But he's just a whole bunch happier and loves people.
Oh, yes, he does.
Okay.
And if anybody's interested, they can reach us at the facility at 438-2200 or can reach me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
You did it again, Officer Mort with Dog Nation. Thank you. Who let all those dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Oh, Minidoka Animal Control, Ken. He really loves animals, and check out that dog. That Brutus sounds like a good dog to have. Really fun dog to have. Hey, don't forget, just about a couple hours, we're going to be over at Perkins Restaurant at 800 North Overland in Burley for our great big October lunch bunch. Oh, we love going to Perkins. It's great where they believe in being best buds with your taste buds. They've got a bakery over there that just absolutely is dynamite. You're going to love all the food. You're going to love all the pies. You're going to love all the muffins. You're going to love everything at Perkins Great Restaurant and Bakery. 800 North Overland in Burley. Lunch bunch today at 11:30. I want that place filled up. Please, everybody come on by and enjoy Zeb's Lunch Bunch today and enjoy a great meal at Perkins in Burley. Let's talk now to the lovely Rita Ramsey, and it's Thursdays. We always look forward to having her on the program. Good morning, lovely lady. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How goes the battle?
Well, evidently, the question that you posed, if you asked that to the Obama administration and all the good folks that want to try to impose Obamacare on us, they might just turn around and look at you with a glassy-eyed stare and go, we don't know. We can't figure the problems out.
I would bet they would actually rather climb under the chair and hide rather than answer how it goes, wouldn't you?
Have you ever, honestly, and I did a little research on this the other day, and I don't think I ever recall a movement within a presidential administration that was really supposed to be thrust and forced upon the people that came out this stinking bad.
Well, I like to think maybe there was some divine intervention going on here.
Yeah.
Because we can't have this. If they get control of 1/6 of our economy and start doing stuff with it, this economy will collapse and they will be in control of everything. And that's their intentions, really. And so I'm hoping maybe that we're getting a little bit of a reprieve here so that we can bounce back and get rearmed with some information and maybe get some people educated into what's going on instead of just having a bunch of people go, oh, yeah, free insurance, that's cool, yeah, that'll be really good, and just let it go.
You know, there was talk, and you remember this, Rita, because you and I talked about it on the show, that the actual conception of Obamacare was to hopefully insure approximately, and this is why this number infuriates me, approximately just 30 million people. Out of the 330 million people in this country, they were saying that 30 million were really depressed and downtrodden and needed to have Obamacare. So they disrupted the whole system of insurance, health insurance, to try to provide insurance for the 30 million that didn't have it. And now, after Obamacare is being thrust upon us, it looks like at least 15 million of that 30 million won't have it, and many others that had insurance coverage are losing their insurance coverage. They're losing their doctors. They can't replace it because they can't get on the computer. This is devastating.
Well, it's really a bad deal, and the worst part of it is that people just stood by thinking, well, I guess it's going to be okay that they think they were going to get free insurance. I don't know why they thought that, but they figured, oh, Obamacare, we'll get free insurance. We'll be covered. Well, that's baloney. And second of all, you've just got tons and tons of people that are, I think they said there were 300,000 in Florida that got letters in the last few days saying that their insurance was canceled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were going to have to try to get on the Obamacare because they couldn't, what they had wouldn't qualify for what was required.
I just heard this morning on the news, and it was on at about 4:15 this morning. I was watching this story. And this gentleman was just almost in tears. He had worked and provided his family with a good living. He worked hard. He had a job with the health insurance and all the amenities and benefits. And then all of a sudden, his employer said, well, we can't do this anymore because of Obamacare. And he lost that coverage, and he thought he'd apply for Obamacare. Can't get on the computer. Doesn't have anything to try to protect his family. I mean, these are horror stories, but they're not out of the norm. Right now, with this idiocy and incompetency of this Obama administration, this is becoming an everyday lollipop.
Well, and the other thing is there's lots of things hiding. And one of those things is that the subsidies that people will be eligible for if they can't afford, if they make less than a certain amount of money, and their insurance is going to cost so much and they're going to get subsidies, they have to pay for everything up front. Their subsidies are going to come in the way of a tax credit when they do their taxes the following year. How many people are going to be able to pay those high of rates when they couldn't afford insurance to begin with? Now they get on with this and they have to pay for it and then get a tax credit at the end of the year. That's going to be a financial oppressive thing for a lot of people because they're going to think, well, they're going to pay for part of it. Well, you have to pay the upfront part and then get reimbursed a year later.
Yeah, and here's what's interesting this morning, and I know you're chomping on the bit to talk about this, but 6, and it might even be more now later on this morning, this was as of 6 o'clock this morning, but 6 very prominent Democrats, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz and others, Joe Manchin, etc., are ready to stand on the bow of the ship and jump off because they said this thing's got to be fixed and we got to stop everything. We got to put a woe to the runaway horse, and we've got to make sure that it's going to work right and no fines, no threatening the public. We got to get this right.
Well, I think more Democrats will totally get on board with putting it off for a time. But just think about this, and this is where I think the Tea Party won, and that is with Senator Cruz and Senator Lee bringing that all up front and having America talk about it for a couple of weeks just before this came out helps people know this is a bad deal, and they know it is, instead of all of a sudden having the curtain unveiled to them to what's going on and them thinking, well, what's going on? What's the matter? But we had dialogue about it for at least 2 weeks before it came out. those Tea Party guys were the worst people in the world for doing what they did. They didn't accomplish anything. What were they doing? Well, you know what? They really did win.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the Tea Party and the Republican Party, and then the third prong on the old pitchfork, the Democrats. I just don't understand. I've asked questions, I've asked you questions, I've asked other questions as to why there is this animosity between the Republicans and the Tea Party, when if they banded together and they started to share ideas and share the workload and share the pulling of the wagon up the hill, they could literally get the wagon to the top of the hill, let it loose, and run over all the doggone Democrats.
Well, that's absolutely right. And obviously they forgot about the elections in 2010 when the Tea Party came in and helped them have what they needed to do to gain control of the House. The big problem with the Republicans, just the regular Republicans, is they're not really conservative. They're no different than the Democrats. They still vote liberal. They do whatever they want. It's all about power and big government. It's not about being fiscally conservative, and it's not about letting the people's voices be heard. It's like, I'm in charge here, you shut up. And it happens, it's right down that way. We think we live in a conservative state, and we do, but our leaders are not conservative. We have a ton of leaders that have ours behind their names, but the only reason they have ours behind their names is they know they couldn't get elected either in their state or in their actual counties or districts if they had a D behind their name. But they vote the same way as the Ds do, and people are getting tired of it, and especially people like a conservative state like ours that has many, many people who are saying, hey, we want fiscal conservatism. We don't want that liberal stuff, and we're not going to put up with it. And I think it's starting to come around, and it's going to start biting some of them in the tail end.
I want to ask you about a gentleman, and I'm using this term loosely because of some of his writings, by the name of Chris Carlson, and he writes an op-ed piece for the Times News called The Carlson Chronicle. I'm going to ask you about this guy, who I consider to be not the brightest light in the fixture. We're going to talk about him in a moment, but caller, go ahead, please.
Yeah, along these same lines, is there anybody out there that is Republican or a Tea Party person that is looking at getting into the mix against Simpson? And I'll hang up and listen.
Rita, why don't you go ahead and answer that? What's your knowledge about somebody else jumping into the fray?
Yes, there actually is. His name is Brian Smith. He's from Idaho Falls. He was at our Liberty Summit, and we met him, and he is very interested, and he is running against Simpson, and you'll hear a lot more about him. He'll be making the rounds and visiting people and stuff, and so yes, he is running against Simpson, and he's very serious about it, and he has an excellent platform, and that platform is conservatism and taking back our Idaho. The problem that Idaho has is Simpson will vote with the Democrats, and then Labrador votes with the Republicans, and they just end up canceling their vote, so Idaho doesn't even get a vote, and so that's what's really bad. I was also told this morning that Senator Russ Fulcher from Meridian is going to challenge Governor Butch Otter. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be coming to Burley on the 29th, which is next Tuesday night. He'll be at Perkins for probably an hour and a half for questions and answers and meet the guy. And I would invite anybody out there to come and meet him. We're going to have all kinds of people getting involved in these various different races so that we can take back our government and make sure that those who represent us are conservative and fiscally sound in their beliefs and what they do.
Rita, did you read the op-ed piece in the Times News recently, High Noon for Idaho's Republicans, written by this little bit nutty Chris Carlson?
I did not read that.
Well, I think you'll be highly offended by this, because he goes into, his first sentence says, there's a gunfight forming between predominantly common sense conservative Republicans and the zealots, further to the right, loosely lumped under the Tea Party label. He goes into this and basically does everything he can to clean his dirty boots on the Tea Party members. And then he said something later on. I want to read this to you. He said the Tea Party believers who adhere to radical notions, like returning the election of U.S. senators to the state legislature, returning to the gold standard, abandoning the United Nations, defaulting on paying bills due and owed for already incurred expenses, punishing illegal immigrants already here, and so on and so on. Those are the words that he used. And you know, quite frankly, I've spoken out many times on this program that I feel we should be getting out of the United Nations or throwing the United Nations off the shores of the United States. And I absolutely think that illegal aliens that are here should abide by the law and be under the restrictions of what the law says. I absolutely feel like we've got a lot of things to do to clean up our economy and our currency. So why are we always considered to be the far right-wingers?
Well, I would love to sit down with him and go point by point on all those things that he brought up, because first of all, government is not supposed to be so big that it doesn't take care of itself. And as far as he's talking about the 17th Amendment in there, where that we would take the Senate thing back, that is the only way that we're ever going to get anything done in the Senate, is if the senators actually have to report back to the individual states and their legislative bodies, who are the ones who will nominate and send them. And because we are in a republic, we elect representatives here, and that representative takes my vote to Boise, and he voices it there. And if he doesn't voice his vote the way that I prefer, then I can choose to have him removed by my vote. But the thing of it is that the senators right now spend 3/4 of their time getting reelected, opening their pockets to the lobbyists, and they aren't interested in what's going on in Idaho. And so the 17th Amendment does need to be repealed, just the way that it was set up originally by the founders, and that is that the state legislators do that. And while we're on that, I was at a meeting last Thursday night in Twin Falls. It's that fellow that from Oklahoma. I can't even remember his name.
Oh, Dr. Ritz.
Yes, he was a speaker there, and that was an absolutely amazing meeting. And his big headline is, the states have rights, and we forget about that. And our state legislators and our governors forget that we have more rights. And we can opt out of tons and tons and tons of things that the government is not supposed to be dabbling in. And if they would just use that power of their 10th Amendment, which is the states' rights, and the amendment reads that any right not given to the national government is the right of the state, as long as the Constitution does not explicitly prohibit the states from that right. So here's two things that we're talking about. The Obamacare and Common Core that the federal government is trying to force upon us. And if our state legislators would get together and get their head out of the sand and decide that they can repeal it, they will. And one of the things that he had mentioned was that, and I had kind of forgot about this, but remember back in the 90s when we had the NAFTA thing, we were going to have the big superhighway come from Mexico to Canada and everything? We never got that highway, did we?
No.
And the reason is because Oklahoma was the state where it was going to go through, and they went as state legislators and they wrote up a bill, and they said, you will not bring that through our state. And guess what? We didn't get that thing. And it's because the states knew what their rights were. They got busy on it, and they got after it. And they were saying to the government, you are not going to force this upon us. And they also were in the process of getting rid of Common Core and Obamacare. They've written up their things, and they just have to go to their representatives for a vote. And he said, we're pretty confident that we'll get the vote for it, and we've kind of had to re-educate our governor, because she had taken $54 million to get, I think it was the Obamacare exchanges set up in their state, and they said, oh, no, you won't. And she goes, well, what are we going to do? We've already taken this money. And they said, you give it back. And so they ended up giving back that money. They didn't set up exchanges, and Obamacare will be out of their history here before too long. And it's because their state representatives know what's going on, and they're anxiously engaged in doing what's right for the state.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned the meeting and the starting time, and I want you to reiterate that one more time, please.
This meeting is the one for Tuesday night?
Yes.
Tuesday night at 8 p.m. at Perkins. And that's October 29th, Tuesday night. And his name is Senator Russ Fulcher.
Okay.
And he will be there as a meet and greet and answer questions. And he's going to go try to make it to every county in the state in these next few months so that he can find out what the people want and the people know what he's all about.
All right.
Okay, well, I got a message from Dorothy who said over at Moon and Associates said it was 8 a.m. and not p.m. So he'll be meeting in the morning and not in the evening.
Is that right?
Oh, well, when she talked to me, I thought she said 8 p.m., but if it's 8 a.m.
Okay. Now, I want to solidify this. It's 8 a.m. and not 8 p.m., right?
A.m. according to Dorothy, yes.
Good. Appreciate that, Gina. Thank you. Now, Rita, I've got to have a weather update with Michael Rogers Weather, and then I'll come back with more with Rita Ramsey. Here's Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's Thursday, and nothing has changed since the last 4 days ago, and nothing is going to change as we work our way into next week. So what am I talking about? It's going to be another sunny day. Look for a high today of about 69. Overnight low right around 38, which is not bad either because it's not really freezing, but it's kind of cool. Winds are not going to be a problem. It's just going to be, how should I say this? As Johnny Nash did on his #1 hit single back in the day, it's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Have a good day. Enjoy the weather. See you later, guys.
Thank you very much, MichaelRogersWeather.com. Rita, when you look at this thing falling apart at the seams like a cheap suit, and you look at the debacle of this whole administration, again, I revert back to Fast and Furious. I revert back to all the messes that Eric Holder's got into. I revert back to, of course, Benghazi, with the new information that's coming out about Benghazi and new information that basically throws mud in the face of Obama and the rest of the administration days before that mass killing of our people over in Benghazi that didn't have to happen. And you talk about the First Amendment scandal, and you talk about the IRS scandal, and now we've got the debacle with Obamacare, and Obama utilizing these scandals to twist and turn politics the way he wants it, now going after immigration reform to bring in 12 million more illegals, make them legal just in time for the 2014 elections.
Well, we do know that he's got an agenda, and the thing of it is, you mentioned Benghazi and you mentioned Fast and Furious. I don't know whether it's been really brought up much because I haven't seen it on hardly any news, but there was an article that I was reading this morning, and it says Obama is purging military commanders, and there have been 9 very, major generals, lieutenant general, vice admirals in the Navy, rear admirals in the Navy, generals in, Army, and all of these, there's 9 of them, brigadier general, that have been let go in the last year because of one thing or the other that was totally unfounded in them being let go. That Ham was extremely critical of the Obama administration on the Benghazi thing. He retired in April of this year. Rear Admiral Charles Goet of the Navy, he told Congress there may not have been time to get the flight crews to Benghazi, but left the door open when Trey Gowdy had cross-examined him, and he was so he was accused of profanity in a public setting, and that's why he was released. I mean, you're talking about all kinds of very, very things that are not even, don't matter about a thing. And yet here's President Obama getting rid of these generals that have been, they had to have been in the Navy for 30 or 40 years, Navy and the actually military, not just the Navy. But he's letting these guys go, and it makes you wonder what the plan is. I think that there's a big plan, and some of these guys are saying, hey, I'm going to do what's right. I'm not going to do what you tell me necessarily. And because of it, then he wants to get rid of everybody that would have any kind of attachments to what went on so that there can't be any retribution, is my guess. And he can just do what he wants. He can do it with immigration. He can do it with the UN. He can do whatever he wants.
Well, there's, and I'm out of time, but I just want to mention this to you, that a couple of months ago, actually it's been about 6 months ago, I had the author Joe Roby on my program talking about his book called Essential Liberty. And we went through the book, and I hadn't had a chance to read it at that juncture. I just had some of the highlights, and it was all a book about how this administration, in a fictional form, would implement gun control and gun confiscation. Now, this book was written almost better than a year and a half ago, and he had the preview of his book come out earlier this spring, and I had him on the air. Rita, if you want to be scared to death, read the book and find out some of the same verbiage that was fictional is now coming to fruition in this administration. It's very spooky.
Well, it is, and the more people just sit back and say, well, you know, it's going to be okay, and a person cannot just sit back right now and take anything from the news or even talk radio. You've got to go and get enlightened by people who have messages. You've got to find out what's going on in other states. Like I said, that fellow that we went to his deal last Thursday night, that was an amazing meeting. And that guy knows what's going on, and their legislators are doing stuff about it, so the federal government can't come in and just take them over. But, you know, there's states like ours that it's like, are they doing that to us? Are they trying to take over us? Or are guys really standing up for stuff? And I don't know that they are. I hope they are.
Rita, I'm out of time. I'm over time, and I know we have a caller. I am so sorry. I've got to get my next break in, so I apologize. Please try to call us back next week with Rita Ramsey. Rita, God bless you, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Okay, thanks, Deb.
Thank you very much. It's hungry time. If you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places for you to go eat. Let me share them with you. First of all, Burgers, etc. 2 locations, 700 North Overland in Burley and 124 South Oneida in Rupert. Oh, my. For the month of October, burritos or corn dogs, 99 cents after 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Great after-school snack. Say it again, Zeb. A great after-school snack. And remember, on October 21st, just the other day, soup bread bowls are back, and boy, are they good, along with ham and cheese sandwiches and all the goodies at Burgers, etc. in Burley and Rupert. Let's not forget our friends over at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. My goodness sakes, they've got this grilled chicken bacon ranch quesadilla. They've got the taco salad burritos. They've got the pumpkin empanadas. Have you had a pumpkin empanada? Oh, they're good. You're going to love them, along with the Bandito burgers and the chicken strip baskets and everything else at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Bit my tongue. Steve-O's, don't forget them, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Oh, my goodness sakes, great menus. Great menus with steaks and chicken and seafoods and salads and all kinds of goodies, and they've got a kiddies menu, too. And I'll tell you what, this is a great place to go to warm up for lunch on these chilly fall days. They'll have soup every day, homemade and delicious. Always great people, friendly servers at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. And last but not least, in our continuing search for great places to go eat, the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, my. They've got the Farmer Brown burgers and the fries. Oh, I love those fries. And the special sauce. And they got pumpkin milkshakes. They got flavors of milkshakes, every flavor for you. They're open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturdays. Oh, my goodness sakes, you're going to love the food at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few places to go if you're hungry and starving to death.
Yes.
For some reason, the minute I get to the tagline, I can see you with drool coming out of the corners of your mouth, and you're going, feed me!
Yep, I am too. You know what sounds really good right now?
What?
Just me. Chicken fried steak.
Well, you're not greedy, are you?
No.
I mean, you want all the I suppose you want it smothered in gravy.
Yes.
And I suppose you want it with mashed potatoes.
Hash browns.
And a couple of biscuits.
Eggs.
Yeah. And how about a vegetable?
No, toast.
Realize you're getting a lot of starch there?
Yeah, that's okay.
But in your case, you'll never blimp up.
No, I'll use it. I'll burn it off. And so chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, eggs, and sourdough toast.
Oh, eggs. You didn't mention that.
Oh, yes, eggs.
Over easy.
Yes.
Yes. Got to be over easy.
Mm-hmm. So you can mash them up in your hash browns.
Thanks an awful. Oh, man. I'll tell you what.
And then you smother that with a little bit more gravy and then
hot sauce.
Tabasco, yeah.
Hot sauce.
Mm-mm.
Some of Louisiana's finest.
Yes.
Oh. Now you did it to me.
Are you hungry and starving to death?
Do I walk on crutches?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Go have your cheese snack.
I'll be back in 6.
Okay.
I know those folks, Culver's. I've eaten there many times. Good morning, and welcome to hour number 3. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, your major sponsor for this program, our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some great advertisers like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Speaking of which, we now go through the miracle of the telephone lines and Alexander Graham Bell and his great invention. Here's Brent Lee.
Good morning, Zeb. Yes, good to be with you.
Oh, same here, my friend. And to what are you going to grace us with this morning?
You know, we have got a store full of values, and I don't know whether you've driven by as of late, but we've had freight truck after freight truck coming in, and we've got furniture and floor covering stacked clear to our gills, and so we're anxious to move some home furnishings. So let's get started.
All righty.
First of all, I want to talk about some special room packages that we have. In other words, come in, depending on your size of your room and your needs, we can put together a 7-piece living group, a 9-piece living room group, or 11-piece living room group. So that may be a sofa, love seat and chair and some occasional tables, or then we may add some lamps, and then we can again add perhaps an area rug or some accessories. And each of those furniture packages are especially priced. So we put them in settings here in the store, so you can come in and you can actually visualize and see what a room might look like. Mm-hmm. And we've got a wonderful selection of those throughout the store.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Mr. Furniture Expert that knows everything about this. Do you think that sometimes people overcrowd certain rooms?
Well, I think that's a good point. I think you make it to a point where it's not eye appealing to walk through.
Yeah,
and that's a real good point. We concentrate on that here in our own store. I think generally speaking, people like to see a lane that they can travel and feel comfortable in, and so you can lighten your room, add some accessories, and really make the room pop.
Absolutely, and you have the experts over there that know what really looks good.
We do, and you know, it makes a tremendous difference whether it be from an interior design or decorating standpoint, or whether it just helps you make you make a good decision on choosing a recliner or one of our Simmons mattress sets, knowing what you need to look for. We try to be good listeners so we can hear your experiences from the past and then help you make a good decision. And then in addition to that, I'm glad you mentioned it, we take great pride on the installation, whether it be installation of our window coverings and in particular all of our floor coverings. And I can't tell you how many wonderful installation jobs we complete, but also how many other repairs we go out on those who perhaps have been brought from out of town. And so installation is of great importance.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if they're starting off and they've got a brand new home, you folks over there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, you can basically help them coordinate every single room.
We can from the ground up. And, of course, we provide wonderful package pricing. And as a reminder, if you go somewhere, and we think it's wonderful that everyone shops and looks for their best values and they get ideas, bring in those best values. We don't care where they're from. We can assure you that we will give you an equal or better value in price and quality and selection.
Absolutely. Boy, we did this like we rehearsed it or something.
You're good, Zeb.
The man that swims with sharks is so absolutely interesting. Brent Lee, tell everybody your hours over there.
We're open Monday through Friday from 9 until 6 p.m., And then on Saturday from 10 to 5, always closed on Sundays.
Absolutely. Brent Lee, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland and Burley. Thank you, my friend.
It is. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Real nice guy. Brent Lee at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Hey, you know what? I know another great place that you should go eat, and that's the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Delicious luncheon specials, Monday through Friday for only $5.95. $5.95. Why? That's unheard of, but it's good and it's true. And they've got senior citizens dinner specials Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. only $5.95. And today they're going to have chicken noodles over mashed potatoes, roll and salad. Ooh! And they're also having a Halloween bash Saturday, October 26th, with live music by Cannery Road, starting at 8:30 p.m. Free drinks for anybody that shows up in a costume. Ho! That'll be great. And specials on all the appetizers. Going to be a lot of fun this weekend, every day at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Really good, folks. By the way, we are less than perhaps about full 35 minutes away from our grand prize drawing for cow pies and coffee cups, all the readers of my weekly letter and blog. And we've got thousands of entries over here in the bowl, and our grand prize is going to be a set of car tires from Tires West, Les Schwab in Burley. Oh, yeah, thank you, Randy. And then also a dinner certificate for two for the Drift in Rupert. Holy buckets! We've got some great grand prizes to give away later on this morning. Don't go away. We're going to have a drawing in approximately 35 minutes or so. So stay tuned for that. And thank you, Tires West and the Drift In. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to have another great guest on our program this morning on School Days in Cassia County, brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and also Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. And with us today on our call, we have a lovely lady from Raft River High School, Lori Spratling. Lori, good morning to you.
Morning, Zeb. How are you?
Well, you act like you know me. Have we ever met each other?
No, but I grew up listening to you.
Well, thanks a lot. I'm an old man, Lori. Now, how long have you been an English teacher over at Raft River High School?
2 years.
2 years. Now, are you from this area originally?
Yes, I grew up in Albion.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Up there with that old mountain man, George Montgomery?
Yes, I know him well.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you poor girl. Anyway, you at Raft River High School, you're teaching a brand new concept. And when I read this, I thought, what? It's called flipped classroom. What in the world is a definition of flipped classroom?
All right. Well, a flipped classroom constitutes the students watching the lessons at home and coming to the class prepared to do the homework. This allows the students to do the homework in class in an environment where I can help them one-on-one, specifically addressing their weak points. The idea of a flipped classroom has always intrigued me, and I believe it could be quite successful.
Okay, now wait a minute. Let's back up from the beginning here. You send the students home, and they're going to watch the concept and what's being taught. How are they going to watch it? On a television set? Where do they watch it?
On their computer.
On their computer. Now, do you find, Lori, that if they're left to their own shortcomings or their own habits, that they're going to forget to turn the computer on and take a study lesson, or are a lot of these kids really dedicated to listening to it and studying it?
A lot of the kids, at least the ones I've dealt with here in North River, are pretty good about doing their homework when asked. So I have a few, of course, that they don't, but we always teach the lesson in the classroom again, so it's basically supposed to be a preview for them.
Okay.
Give them a heads up.
All right, so they go home and they turn on the computer, and give us an example of what some of the class lessons would be about.
Okay, some of the ones we've done recently are transitive verbs. So they would go online and they would watch it, and it would explain what a transitive verb is, and then they come to class, we discuss it in class, and then we do the homework together.
So this is kind of a precursor to what your class is going to be talking about the next day, and it kind of breaks the ice for you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, how much do you credit these kinds of flipped classroom studies? How much do you give credit to them as far as giving advanced education and knowledge to these kids?
Well, I feel that it helps them, it solidifies it in their mind that so they don't forget it, which in the future when they need it, it will be more in their head because they've had a visual, they've had an audio, it's all sorts of, I think it would help them a lot.
So, for the lack of terminology that's probably acceptable, do you think it kind of plants a seed in their minds that they can kind of stick in the back of their brain overnight and maybe get up in the morning while they're brushing their teeth and they go, oh, when we get to Miss Spratling's class today, we're going to be talking about verbs and all that kind of stuff. I'm already ahead of the game. Do you think that's the benefit of it?
Yes, it helps them become familiar with the terms, and in the process it eases their frustration. Because I feel a lot of kids come and, if they hear transitive verb, they shut down. But if they've heard it before, they can ease into it and oh, I kind of know what that is. Tell me some more about it. So, yeah.
Let me ask you this. I took Latin in high school, which was really a waste of time because you don't run into too many people on the street corner, whether you're visiting New York, and speak Latin to them. But is our English language sometimes, Lori, do you think that we spend so much time on verbs and adjectives and nouns and pronouns that we really forget basically how to communicate with people?
Well, and grammar is a key to communicating with people. We have to learn to speak correctly in order to get our true meaning across to them. And if we can't speak correctly, we lose the true meaning of what we're trying to convey to them.
Okay, but now you led me right into where I wanted to talk to you just for a second. There's so many people that want to slay and destroy our English language with the Ebonics from back in Detroit and that type of thing. What about it? On a nationwide basis, have we really lost the ability to have good grammar and understand good English?
I don't think we've lost the ability. I think we've lost the desire to have it, where it's so easy to just type up an email, and if it's not spelled correctly or the grammar's not correct, that's okay. But if you get those funny emails, sometimes they'll send them and the punctuation's wrong and we read it wrong. Well, the meaning is just devastated. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel that, even if we don't have the desire to learn it now, it should still be important to us.
You mentioned spelling, and Lori, that's one of my real sticking points. I was, and I'm not bragging, I'm just being honest, I was absolutely an excellent speller. As a matter of fact, I won spelling championships in 6th, 7th, and 8th grades in elementary school. But I noticed that a lot of the emails, a lot of the letters, a lot of correspondence that I receive from very well-known and big business people, their spelling is atrocious. How come our spelling in this country's got so sloppy?
Well, I believe, and I hate to say it, computers have led to that. People will type an email and they've gotten so dependent upon spell check, they've never learned how to spell that word. And so when I type their email and if it doesn't have spell check or they don't care, they don't take the time to correct it.
Mm-hmm. So they've relied too much on the technology, right?
And I find that to be a very sad failing of technology, is us becoming completely dependent upon it.
Where do you draw the line, though, Lori? Because you're actually, what we're talking about is utilizing technology today with this flipped classroom concept, but then on the other hand, you're saying that technology sometimes is a bad thing.
Yes, it should be a tool to help us further our education, to help us further our society, but we shouldn't become dependent upon it.
Okay, so now this concept of flipped classroom, is this something that you dreamed up, or where did this idea come from?
Oh, no, it's been around for a couple of years. My husband actually found the link to the website I use on an education Twitter feed, and so I started trying it out, and it's an older concept. I'm not sure how old, and I know there's other teachers in the district who are experimenting and trying it out. And I just was curious about it and thought I'd give it a try.
All right, now, its major dependency is that all these children will have access to computers in the evening, though, right?
Yes, and that is why now we don't have it fully implemented, because there isn't internet at many of the students' homes. But we still use it as a resource for those who are willing to go the extra mile They can come to school. You can watch it during lunch, during study periods, during breaks. So there's always a way if there's a will.
I'm sitting here thinking about this, and from way back when we used to circle the wagons at night when I was in school, and I'm thinking about, man, this would have been a real benefit to me, especially in Mr. Lansing's mathematics class, because I couldn't stand to listen to him. He was so doggone boring for over 50 minutes every morning. But maybe I could have picked something up about math and algebra from the concept of flipped classroom.
And what's really neat is that all the tutorials that are put on this website are from teachers all over the country. So you could find a math tutorial from another teacher who maybe presents it in a manner that you understand better.
So do you have a headquarters where you have a kind of a classroom chart book as to what's going to be studied on a per-week basis that they can find on the computer?
Or back to technology, I use Google Calendars, which is an online email. And we go on and it's a calendar and it's set up on the email, and I add everything that we're doing for up to a week on the computer.
I see. What's your results so far? What are you finding in the classroom? Is it good, bad, indifferent? What would you say?
For the kids who have used it, they like it. They love coming to class, knowing what we're going to talk about, they feel like they're above their peers a little bit because I know what we're doing today. But I find that the kids who actually have done it find it as a benefit.
Okay. And what do you think the future of this kind of a concept is? Do you think that it can be refined and honed into something that could be utilized much larger in the future?
As with anything, everything can be made better. So I know if this is a process that more people are going to pick up, I know it will be better. It will continue to just become a better product that will benefit more and more people.
Maybe it'll even help Obamacare.
This could only be so lucky.
We have a caller with a question. Stand by, Lori, just a second.
All right.
Quickly, caller, go ahead. I'm almost out of time.
Yeah, my question is this part of Common Core?
That's a good question. Lori, is this part of the Common Core education that's been expanded across the country?
It does include Common Core concepts. It's not a requirement of Common Core, but it does include some of the concepts to help us as teachers relate those concepts to the students.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about flipped classrooms before we let you go back to class and all the kids are throwing paper wads at each other?
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure we covered everything, but I feel like it's a great thing.
Well, I want to say thanks to you on behalf of Raft River High School. You're an English teacher over there in that area, Lori Spratling. Thank you. God bless you. And please come back and talk to us about it again in the future, okay?
Oh, I'd love to, Zeb.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Hey, you do the same.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
We are very blessed to have two sponsors of School Days in Cassia County on our program every week, and that's A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. And right now, don't you forget, they're celebrating their 10th annual Christmas in October big sale that's going on right now. 30% off on all toys, games, puzzles, books, and costumes. And can you believe it? We only got about 50 shopping days left till Christmas. That's hard to believe. Stop in and check out all the baby items, all the clothing, everything at A Child's World, 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. And also our other sponsor, our thanks go to Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, 677-8888. Don't forget, colonoscopies are very, very important and have been proven to save lives. Dr. Ted Ray, board certified, has performed hundreds and hundreds of colonoscopies right there at Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue. Please give them a call and ask questions about your health, and they'll help you any way they can at Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, 677-8888. And we thank them very much for sponsoring School Days in Cassia County right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Well, Gene, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well.
You know, you're the generation in between my generation and then the bridge with you and then the younger generation, Kennedy, your son, and all these other kids.
Yep, I'm Generation X.
Wow. I mean, some of the educational dynamics have changed to the point where maybe I wouldn't have been such a dolt in Mr. Lansing's algebra class.
Some of the styles and techniques have changed even since I was in school. And so technology is a good thing, but then again, I think that we still need to be teaching kids the fundamentals, the old school way, so they can appreciate the technology that's in the class.
I can honestly see some advantages, though, of mentally planting the seed of what the teacher's going to talk about the next day by visualizing and listening to a video or a teacher about whatever the subject might be. And then that student goes into class, and something is going to be said during the classroom that's going to trigger their remembrance of what they had last evening. I see that's kind of a good backup plan.
It actually really is a good backup plan, but the key is to make sure, and this would fall on the parents, really, I think, is to make sure that your kids are getting online and they are actually viewing what they're supposed to be viewing and not Facebooking and playing around.
Amen. So in other words, what you're doing is using the two words that are not applied in a lot of cases today, parental responsibility.
Exactly. Now, we've got a phone call.
All right, quick call. Good morning. You're on the air.
How you doing, Mr. Bell?
If I was any better, the wrong fat man be wearing my clothes.
Hey, just real quick, I know you're a sports fan, and I know if you remember back, do you remember Pete Rose?
Very well, sir.
Okay, Pete Rose played the game of baseball with honor and dignity. He gave it everything he had. He played it according to the rules and everything. Outside of baseball, he made a dumb mistake, which we all know about, and this has cost him from going into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I don't know. I didn't hear your program a couple days, so maybe you covered this. I don't know. But I was reading an article in the paper a couple weeks ago, and it was on induction into the Women's Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And Nancy Pelosi was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I thought, you talk about justice here. You got a guy that plays the game of baseball as clean and as hard as he can and makes a stupid mistake, will never make it. And then you get a lady here that screwed the whole country, and she makes the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, let me just clarify some points, though, that I think you'll agree with me. Number one, Pete Rose did not make a mistake. Pete Rose made bad choices.
Well, yeah.
There's a difference there between choices and mistakes.
Yeah, true.
Pete Rose, known as Charlie Hustle, absolutely put effort back into the game of baseball. He absolutely showed that no matter what your size, no matter what your physical ability or inability, if you played hard and played tough and played to win, you could achieve almost anything you wanted to win. But Pete made some devastatingly bad choices that I think today, in regards to some of these people like A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, and other ones that have been on dope, and all the other dopers that have used illicit means to achieve greatness, some of them probably are going to make it to the Hall of Fame, and Pete Rose has tried to apologize for his shortcomings with his gambling, and he's still one of the greatest baseball players that ever played the game, and I think there should be a reevaluation as to what Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose, deserved to be in the Hall of Fame for.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you 100%, but I just thought it was kind of funny, because, he does make bad choices.
Yeah.
But then we have one of the top politicians in the country that does everything she can to rip off every one of us, and she makes the Hall of Fame.
And let me ask you a quick question. And I've only got a minute left, did you see the baseball game last night, the World Series?
Yes, I did.
All right, now I want to ask you this quickly because I'm really a baseball fan and a former baseball player. That call for the double play last night was the worst, absolutely the worst umpired call I've seen in professional baseball in the last 30 years.
Well, I thought the call was just totally, and I had to admire the other umpires for having the integrity to get together and change that call.
Absolutely. If they wouldn't have changed that call, I personally think that would have been a biggest black mark against professional baseball and umpiring that I have seen, as I said, in the last 30 years.
Yeah, and it was. So anyway, but appreciate your show and appreciate all you do, buddy. You have a good day.
Yeah, and same to you, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. I love talking baseball. Anytime, all the time. Let's take a little break. I'll be back in 3 minutes with our guest coming up, Christian Roby in just a few moments.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Gina, if you're right there by the microphone, I'm going to try to change things a little bit before we get our guest on the air. If I could do the weather right now, sponsored by Lennox Home Comfort Systems, air conditioners, furnaces, and heat pumps, well, of course, with our friends Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And right now, on behalf of Lennox, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's Thursday, and nothing has changed since the last 4 days ago, and nothing is going to change as we work our way into next week. So what am I talking about? It's going to be another sunny day. Look for a high today of about 69. Overnight low right around 38, which is not bad either because it's not really freezing, but it's kind of cool. Winds are not going to be a problem. It's just going to be, how should I say this? As Johnny Nash did on his #1 hit single back in the day, it's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to you this hour by Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps at our friends Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Ladies and gentlemen, with us on the telephone right now from the Media Research Center, the political director for the Media Research Center, and I'm looking forward to having him on our program. Christian Roby, how are you, sir? Good to have you on the air.
Doing great. How are you, Zeb?
Well, you know, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just sitting here like a sponge, absorbing all this mucus that's being drained out of Obamacare onto the general public, and trying to solidify myself that maybe there's somebody still sane in the news media. Do you find that to be true, or are they all nuts?
I think they're all nuts. I'm sorry.
Okay, end of interview. See you later, buddy.
If you were calling to have, hope for some break, I don't think that I can give it to you. The coverage that we saw going into the shutdown and after the shutdown and during the shutdown was remarkable. It's like something that you would see in a dictatorship.
Okay, Christian, why? First of all, and how secondarily? Why are we letting this happen?
So let's look at the networks. So right now there are more than 20 million viewers who turn on to the networks on any given night. And for the 2 weeks, starting with the first day of the shutdown through the last night before a deal was announced, October 1st to October 15th, of the 124 stories about the shutdown, 41 blamed Republicans or conservatives. None blamed Democrats. When we go and we look at leading into the shutdown, before it was about to happen, from September 17th through September 30th, they ran a total of 39 stories. 21 of those blamed Republicans or conservatives. 0 blamed Democrats, 4 blamed both. It was absolutely over the top, the coverage.
Let me ask you, though, Christian, when you confront, and I did a week ago, I confronted our local Magic Valley newspaper source, the Times News. I confronted their editorial staff and also their editor in regards to the extreme bias of the news media leaning towards the left, and they said, oh, well, that's not true. It balances out. There's 50-50, or at least 49-51. It's very close. There's no such thing as media bias. And I sat there and I thought, baloney.
Yeah. Well, it's really important. That's why it's really important that we get this stuff out there. And if folks think that it just ends with the networks, they are kidding themselves. If you look, another one of this is an interesting little tidbit. If you look at Newsbusters, we also did. We looked at some of the name game that was going on during the shutdown. Top 8 nastiest liberal media quotes blaming the GOP for the shutdown. And you see, it's not just the networks. You have, of course, MSNBC. You have Politico. You have CNBC. You have the Washington Post. Colby King saying that the Tea Party must be making Jefferson Davis proud today. I mean, on and on. And Colby King was on WETA, and Politico quotes folks from CNN and vice versa. So there is, if a local paper is coming to you, is it possible that they gave fair coverage? Yeah, it's possible. But when you look at the major news outlets and you look at the major print publications, overall, the coverage was absolutely horrendous. And not only was the balance horrendous, the amount of time giving to blaming the Republicans for the shutdown, but the characterization, the way that they then went after Republicans during all this and conservatives during the shutdown was disgraceful, labeling them arsonists and terrorists and donning suicide packs. It was just, it was horrible.
Well, let me ask you this, Christian. When did this cute little puppy, known as the news media, grow into a great big German Shepherd that'll tear your throat out? When did they get so left and so biased? When was there a transition and a turn to be so liberalized and so against conservatives?
Well, hard to put a specific date on it. Would be nice to do so. I mean, we've been documenting the bias for over 25 years. I think that anyone who's being reasonable would admit that there is one. But we did see a change in the 2012 election. And what we saw, I remember we were talking to one of our friends here at the Media Research Center, someone who's very interested in our work. And he said, how in the world could it get any worse than it's already been? How could it get worse than the coverage was in 2008? And we said in 2012, with the upcoming election of the re-election of President Obama, they're going to go from just being completely 100% for the president. They're going to be 100% for the president, and they are going to go over the top to completely discredit whoever their candidates are. And that's exactly what we saw happen. So I would say if you want to put a rough date on it, it was the 2012 election when they realized that they had to elect their candidate of choice.
Yeah. Okay, now, we've talked about the possible when it started, but now let's talk about the possibility of righting the ship and steering in a better course. How do we, the American public, start demanding better journalism?
Boy, I think that has to be market-driven, doesn't it? I mean, I think that one of the things that we did is we demanded that the media, that folks just tune out. When we realized in 2012 that it was getting to be, and we went through kind of a laundry list of how they were basically colluding with the administration, our suggestion was, and we did this with a whole bunch of other leaders within the conservative movement, we said, look, tune them out, because this is like propaganda. So I think that is one big thing that the American public can start to do, is just tune them out. Don't turn on ABC. Don't turn on NBC or CBS or CNN or MSNBC. And what I would recommend to folks is start going to alternative media and looking at a whole bunch of different media. Don't just look at, you might want to look at Drudge Report, or you might want to look at the American Spectator, or but look at Huffington Post, look at the Weekly Standard, look at the Washington Post, look at the Examiner, go to Fox News, But in my mind, I think that it's gotten to the point now, at least with the networks, where it's time to tune them out.
The only thing I would arbitrate with you on, Christian, and I'm on your side, don't ever think I'm not, but I put the blame on the American public, because it still boils down to the man on the street or the woman on the street that has to have the personal responsibility to want to find out the truth in news, and I think that's what's lacking in America today. People really don't care anymore.
Well, yeah, sure. Okay, there is a little bit of apathy. I mean, I think that anyone that was a college student at any point in their life realizes, and if they tried to organize some type of club or something like that on their group, or anyone that has worked in politics realizes that there is a great amount of apathy in the United States. But look, let's look at that for a little bit. Let's flip the coin there. On the other hand, people are more beleaguered than they ever have been, in this country for decades. I would argue since the Great Depression, or at least the 1970s. Mm-hmm. And with the overwhelming amount of just data and information that is being thrown their way in the biased way that it is, with the burden that they have, personally, families are having financially, and now the increased cost of their health care, I would say that folks just don't have the. I have faith in the American people, but you have to recognize that people don't. I think a lot of people don't have the psychic energy to say, I need to educate myself. They just want to come home at night and tune out, So I think that, yes, okay, ultimately the responsibility lies with the purveyors of news, the American people. But I think that folks that are in the news business, like you all, folks that are media analysts like us, I think that we have to do some evangelizing.
I agree with that 100%, but then I think also you'll concur with this point, that our generation, my generation, I'm an old man now, even down to your younger generation, but then you take the generation that's just starting in the elementary schools or the junior highs. They are subjected to a completely liberalized education system where the left is always right and conservatism is always wrong. How do we beat that?
Boy, that's a tough one. That is a very, very tough one. I can remember just when I was starting to get involved in the public policy world that there was a great deal of furor that was that came about over a statement that an activist by the name of Paul Weyrich, he made a statement. He used to be the head of the Heritage Foundation, and he started up other organizations, and he even tried to start up an alternative cable news station just for conservatives. And his thought was that we check out completely, similar to that conservatives check out of the culture. Not like what I'm saying, tuning out of the broadcast networks, but that we create our own schools and that we pull out of the public education system. That doesn't mean that you don't engage the culture overall, but I think that there is some merit to that when we have an education system, and I'm a new dad. I have a 3-year-old boy and I have a 10-month-old boy, and I'm thinking about this now, all the crap that awaits them in public school. When you're facing that, I think that we as conservative folks need to seriously think about building up even more institutions than we have now when it comes to education, and endowing scholarships and funds to help people that are not quite as well off to get them into private schools.
I could not agree with you more, and best of luck with your children, by the way, but I think you'll agree with me that when we look at the sanitization of history, the taking a whitewash about the story of the Alamo in Texas, or the story of how Texas got started as a state, or take the story of California and the line of demarcation as to what was Mexico's and what is ours through various treaties, etc. And you look at the sanitization of history, and then you look at what they're trying to do politically to shun conservative thought. We got a rough road to hoe, my friend.
we do. By the way, there's a really good, just a quick detour here, there's a really good book, and I forget the name of the author, but I remember the name of the book. It's called A Patriot's Guide to American History. And it's a wonderful book that really sets the record straight with American history. So in regard to history, that's just a little tidbit there that I found that book to be a wonderful book. But you're right. We do, as a culture, we have a big job ahead of us. I remember at one point I had a colleague and I were talking about this, and of course we're both conservative, and at some point I said, I'll tell you, I'm kind of considering that if the federal government gets any worse, if the culture continues to go down the trajectory that it is, maybe it's time for me to move my country, my family, to a more conservative country. And my colleague said something that I knew intuitively was right as soon as he said it, that if things go down here in the United States, if we lose the fight here in the United States for a free and civil society, then that's it. There's no other place to go. I mean, Ronald Reagan echoed those statements. So I think that we can't even think about that. I think that we've got to fight and not even think about how hard it is.
I totally agree with your statements, but it's got to, in my opinion, it's got to start at home. It's got to start with parental responsibility, like you with your young children. It's got to start with me, with my grandchildren. It's got to start to where people are saying, wait a minute, don't just pay attention to the sanitization. Let's talk about what really happened. Let's talk about value systems. Let's talk about our Constitution, the best ever written. And when people talk about changing it and just basically meddling with it, how valuable a tool that's been for over 250 years, and it's worth sitting back and remembering the blood, sweat, and tears that died for it.
Yes, amen. We went. My wife and I went to an event last night, American Spectator Gala. Gary Sinise was there, and Gary Sinise was, and I'm paraphrasing here now, but Gary Sinise was talking, again, another Ronald Reagan quote, and he was saying, a country that forgets about the warriors that defended it soon will be a country with nothing left. Something along those lines. I forget exactly what it is. But it really is very true, and the reason why, I think, is because those are the folks that are willing to put their lives on the line. I mean, that's where the rubber meets the road. And it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. You know, when you get to a point in the culture where you mock the people, as we did in Vietnam, who stood up for and defended the culture, the freedom, then you have a situation where what was white is black and black is white. It's a troubling sign. I'd say one more thing that you were kind of alluding to that I think needs to be addressed is you were talking about education at home. I think it is absolutely critical. If you can't afford to send your kids to private school, parental involvement is mandatory, and especially in the realm of countering and mitigating political correctness.
Robbie, you've got to make one promise that you'll come back and we'll have another great, interesting conversation, because I really enjoyed having you on the show this morning. Christian Roby, the Media Research Center Political Director, please come back and take care of those kids, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks, Eb.
God bless. Thank you so much. Very interesting young man, and I've seen him on television on numerous occasions, and I'm going to have him back talking about the media and other subjects. We're going to do a commercial, and then it is time, as Gina prepares for the drum rolls and the hallelujahs and everything else, it'll be time for our drawing, so stay tuned. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with, of course, a great big tire sale going on right now. Oh my, all the tires are on sale. All the tires are on sale. Whether you need them for your light truck and SUV like the Wildcat AT2, or whether you need car tires like the Ultra Z900, oh yeah, they're all on sale. And they've got the best of brake service, the best of brake service, the best of front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. I'm telling you, the best of service, always at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley at Tires West. We thank you. We thank our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Gina, can we have a drum roll, please? Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have Vanna White, but we have the arm of Deanne coming across the front of our TV screens with a great big bowl of thousands of names. We will reach in a moment and draw out a lucky winner for Tires West set of car tires from Tires West Les Schwab, and a dinner for two at the Drift Inn, 545 F Street in Rupert. And now, Deanne, would you please reach in and pull out the winner? The hand goes into the bowl. She mixes up the names, and you can see on TV thousands and thousands of names, and comes up with the name of Jim Stocker is the winner of a set of car tires and dinner for two at the Drift Inn in Rupert. Let's have a hallelujah! There you go. One more time, another hallelujah. Our winner is Jim Stocker with a set of car tires from Tires West in Burley, and also the dinner from the Drift Inn at Rupert. My goodness sakes, thank you. And Gina, thank you. Wonderful job over there at the studio this week. We appreciate you. As you know, you are invited to attend Lunch Bunch with us in just a little bit over at Perkins on 800 Overland in Burley.
I am definitely going to try and make it, depending on the workload.
Well, thank you. And by the way, thanks for filling in these next couple of minutes as I hit the highways and byways to get there. But God bless everybody for being a part of the program this week. We will be back next Monday at 8:06 right here on KBAR 1230 or streaming live on the net, zebbell.com, all over the universe. God's blessings. The way things were, the way things ought to be. We'll see you Monday.